Hello, it's Anastasia Forrest with the Forest team at eXp Realty, and I'm here today with Autumn Morris.
Hi, nice to meet you.
And she's with First Florida Financial, and we are here at the KB Home Model Home in Treaty Oaks in St. Augustine. What we're here to talk about today is mortgages for people who are self-employed.
If you get an answer that is not necessarily what you wanted to hear, or that somebody's telling you that you're not eligible, maybe go back and have somebody else take a look at your file and see, because maybe they didn't ask the right questions. Maybe you've got some debts that are actually paid for by your business. And that means that we don't have to count them against your personal debt to income ratio.
Wow.
So if you have a $500 or $600 car payment that's actually being paid for by your business, that's a huge difference. If I can uncheck that and omit that from your debt to income ratio, suddenly you've got more money to play around with and more eligibility, to help you get the house that you're trying to get to. As long as you're able to get that documentation up front, the approval process shouldn't take that long. The approval is going to take about the same amount of time. I mean, unless you've got multiple businesses and a lot of moving parts and a lot of, varying things going on. But typically the approval process is about the same.
Okay, well, very nice. Well, being organized is a plus.
Right, yes.
And I always find it's easier for my buyers I work with who are organized or have been.
Right.
They find it less frustrating.
Right.
To get through the rigors of loan approval.
And one of the things that I have always done, I know that a lot of folks, they run their own business. They don't necessarily have time to give me a bunch of documentation.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I just offer to get in touch with their CPA. And, if they send a quick email saying, hey, talk to Autumn, let her have whatever it is that she needs, that makes my job a lot easier also. Not typically.
Okay.
And I know, I come back to that a lot. I keep saying, well, maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
But so your credit score is going to be about the same across the board. If for a conventional loan, you're going to need a 620. For FHA, there's no real published guideline, a minimum score for FHA. I deal with companies that can go all the way down to 500 for credit score.
Okay.
But it's the lenders that have an overlay, and it's basically FHA doesn't have the bottom score, but the lender will say we're not working below this score, we're not working below this, and typically for FHA it's around 580, but then you run into the ones that I've been fortunate to find that will go down to 500, and they'll accept a little bit more risk. But so the credit score, the only time that it may affect a self-employed borrower is if they are going for a bank statement program or one of those that are sort of designed to not look at the tax returns, but to look at the income that's coming into the business. And some lenders are going to want a higher credit score in order to be eligible for that particular program. The bank statement programs are really designed for borrowers who have a business that may be showing some loss, or they've got a lot of debt associated with the business. A bank statement program allows you to use 12 or 24 months of your bank statements, and the underwriter will use 50%. Typically, it's around 50% of your income and your deposits that is going in. It's basically coming out of your gross receipts. So they use that as your income guideline. And the debt to income ratios are different on those programs. So it's not like they just take apples and stick it in the oranges. There are varying, the programs are different. It helps the self-employed borrower because that way they're not working the same jobs. They're not doing the same things that a typical W-2 earner is doing. And so why should they be judged on the same principles and guidelines? It kind of helps them out.
Well, it's great to know that there are options.
There are.
But recently, I read in an article that was put out by Florida Realtors, I believe, that there's been a new automated program rolled out by Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae. It's supposed to make it easier. Easier for somebody who is self-employed to be approved for a mortgage. Can you sort of elucidate what this means?
Yes, I'll try not to put everybody to sleep with this. But yeah, when you brought that to my attention, I was like, wait a second, I haven't heard of anything like this. What is going on? And so I did a little bit of research on it. Now, as I've mentioned before, there's Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and all underwriters who intend to sell the loans that they've underwritten, or all lenders who intend to sell those loans, have to follow Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac guidelines. Those are all within a system called the automated underwriting system. Every underwriter uses it, and it's kind of, you enter in all the information, and it tells you whether or not it's this borrower is approved to be eligible for a mortgage. Now, I mentioned before that underwriters are tasked for self-employed borrowers. They have to write this lengthy, difficult, in-depth income analysis worksheet. And that income analysis worksheet, the written worksheet, must be in every file. And if there's a mistake that is on that worksheet that causes the loan to not be able to be sold in the end, the bank has to keep the loan and the risk associated with it.
Yeah. Okay.
And so the new technology is actually, it's technology that's been around for a few years. It's called Loan Beam, and it's a third party. It's not associated with Freddie or Fannie, but they have, it's basically where you take a piece of paper, you take the tax return, you scan it in through their system, you scan each page. It takes the numbers that are on the blanks and fills in the income worksheet automatically. And now Fannie and Freddie have basically come forth and said, if Loan Beam says that the borrower makes this particular income, we will accept this number.
Wow.
We will allow this in lieu of the written income worksheet that we've always required.
Wow.
So so in a way, yes, it's going to make it a little easier. It's really going to make it easier on the underwriter.
Yeah,
and
like
it takes some pressure off of the underwriter. But a lot of underwriters, a lot of lenders, a lot of banks, we don't have access to that right now. So it's not going to be helpful to folks like me. I don't have that.
You don't have that app on your phone?
I don't have it yet. There's no app for that yet. But I'm sure as Fannie and Freddie, as they realize how much more business they can actually do with self-employed borrowers, maybe that will become something that's a little bit more easier for smaller businesses to get our hands on.
It's very interesting to find out, a little bit more about how your side of the process works, and to actually hear more about how somebody who is self-employed would go about pursuing loan approval, and learn options for them, because it's nice to know it's possible.
Right. Yeah.
Very well may be possible. And that there's different ways to go about it.
Right.
So
I think that's really the most important thing, is to just go and be ready, have your documentation ready, and understand that you are going to be scrutinized. You're going to be, your income is going to be looked at. You're going to have a lot of questions that you're going to have to answer. But if you're prepared for that, and you realize that it's not personal, this is just something that we're trying to get through so that we can get to it. We have to make sure we have that number. The right number is really what we're looking for. But that there's so many options, and there's a will, there's often a way, and we'll try to find it.
Well, thank you again so much, Autumn, for meeting with me today.
Thank you for having me.
And recording this video for all the wonderful people out there. Autumn, if somebody would like to get a hold of you and ask about pursuing mortgage approval with you, how can they get in touch with you?
Best way is to call me. I do try to answer my phone all the time whenever it rings, and that's at 904-826-5008, or email me. You can text me at that number also. I answer anyway.
She does.
Carrier pigeon. You can email me at autumn@floridafinancialmtg.com.
Again, I'm Anastasia Forrest with the Forrest team. If you guys have any questions about real estate, feel free to reach out, and hope you have a wonderful day, and hope this has been helpful. Bye-bye.